Today, as a guest, we have Reynolds Kairus, aka Dr. Ray, aka NYC Streets MD, and in this video, he discusses the enormous adversity that he encountered in medical school and how he overcame it to become the hard-charging doctor and paramedic that he is today. Just as a quick disclaimer, this interview does contain some strong language, so if you have your kids with you, for example, this may be one that you want to circle back around to later. With that being said, it was important for me not to censor anything so that you guys are getting 100% authenticity. I hope you enjoy it. You want to go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Oh, for sure, man. First of all, thank you for having me, brother. Thank you for the service you do and continue to do. I mean, when I say thank you, I say thank you for being in the military and fighting for our freedom. Thank you for being a stand-up man and also continuing your path on being a man of service. I mean, who else goes from like the military and then go ahead and starts pursuing the idea of becoming a medical doctor? So kudos to you, man. It's a pleasure for me to be here. The funny thing is my brother was also in infantry as well. He was in the 10th Mountain Infantry Division for the U.S. Army. So I know you were in the Marine Corps, man. So whenever I hear the word infantry, it strikes a chord in my heart, man. So thanks again, bro.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
To tell you a little bit about myself, basically, my name is Reynolds Kairus. I'm Dr. Ray, better known as NYC Streets MD online. You know, I've been a healthcare provider since 2003. I basically went from being a high school dropout who's been arrested to becoming a medical doctor who now specializes in digital medicine. And yeah, I have a YouTube channel, Instagram, TikTok, all these things going on. And basically the creation of all these platforms and my adding to those platforms are in hopes that I will be able to share with people the blessings that I've received along the way while making these life transitions that I previously mentioned.
That's amazing. So I think when I first saw you, I saw that it looked like you were a medic, but then at second glance also that you were a doctor. So that's not something that I was aware of was a thing, even that they have MDs on ambulances. Is that city specific generally, or is that pretty much everywhere?
So what you're gonna see in New York City, at least in emergency medicine residency, is that doctors will ride on the ambulance for a certain amount of hours just to get the pre-hospital care experience. Because going back to infantry, paramedics, EMS is the infantry of medicine. We're the boots on the ground. We're the ones knocking on people's doors. We're doing, in essence, the medicine branch of infantry. Now, the reason that I'm on the ambulance while working as a paramedic and having a doctorate degree in medicine is basically because I want to. It's because I'm pursuing my calling. Like all throughout medical school, I would have some kind of paramedic apparel. And if you look at my Facebook, you'll see like I mean, no one's gonna really go on there and check all my social media platforms, but it's there in case somebody wants to put a microscope under me. You'll see that throughout all the years that I've been in medical school, I kept posting stuff about being a paramedic. Like, oh, look, this doctor in neurology is talking to us about a cerebrovascular accident, and man, he has no idea how many of those I've seen and treated myself while working in the South Bronx of New York City as a paramedic. Mm-hmm. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because my conscience always told me that I needed to be more involved with becoming a paramedic and being a paramedic and feeding the community of emergency medical services. So although I'm a doctor, I hold a doctorate degree in medicine, and I'm able to go ahead and take the United States Medical Licensing Exam, the USMLEs, I decided not to because I'd be more impactful helping people in the pre-hospital care setting and helping people digitally, as opposed to, and you've probably seen this, Josh, where you see that doctors are pretty much sonographers who are pharmaceutical representatives. Like all they do is type. That's why they had to create scribes and get the help of scribes because they were typing too much. If anyone sees a doctor a lot, it's the freaking camera on the computer.
Yeah, that is something that I experienced as a scribe, at least, is that the clerical work that accompanies the physician's responsibilities is pretty massive and definitely takes away from their time with the patient.
Yeah, and it's disgusting. Like, that's the reason why I decided to not continue down the road of practicing medicine because of the simple fact that there's a lot of benefits to being a healthcare provider, and it's a very commendable pursuit. And I encourage everyone to be a healthcare provider based on my biased opinion. But, when you go inside of the hospital, you'll see that unfortunately a lot of healthcare providers, like 99.9% of them, are hypocrites. They're not leading by example, and that's their problem. And I'm here to help them as well. But my personal journey is basically, I became a doctor. I started seeing what was going on behind the scenes, and I didn't want to partake in it. It was just like, maybe tomorrow my opinion will change and I'll go ahead and I'll take the exams. I'll pass them and enter a residency. But as of now, I'm leveraging social media and the internet, and I'm just being my own boss, which is something that I've always strived to be. So I'm basically living the life of my dreams right now.
Yeah. Well, that's inspiring. And it's really cool to see everything that you're doing with the videos that you post and everything on Instagram and YouTube, because I think it is powerful stuff. And not only are you doing what you enjoy, but like you said, you are in the trenches doing very hard, commendable work. And so I just want to say thank you for everything that you do, because not only is it helping the people on the streets of New York City, but it's also helping everyone out there who sees your content like myself. So thank you very much.
For sure, bro. Thank you.
So one of the things that we were talking about leading up to meeting today was, what topics could we talk about? And one of the things that came up that you mentioned was just the challenges that coincide with the mountain that is medical school and some of the struggles that you had throughout. So is that something that you'd be willing to talk with everybody about today?
For sure, man. I'm an open book. I mentioned before, the only thing missing online is my social security number. You might be able to Google that as well. So by all means, man, ask away. I'm an open book. I'm willing to share.
All right. Sounds good. So what are the things that you struggled with the most, do you think, throughout med school?
To me, the biggest struggle in med school, there was a lot of included problems before I signed up. Like, I already knew I was going to another country because for you guys that don't know, I went to medical school in the Dominican Republic overseas. The reason why is because I was a high school dropout. So the prerequisite for pre-med in the Dominican Republic was a high school diploma. I didn't even have that. I had a GED, but it's the equivalent, general equivalency diploma, is the equivalent of a high school diploma. So I got into pre-med. Mm-hmm. But I got into pre-med while dominating English and speaking very little Spanish compared to the university level Spanish. So in 2010, I decided to go ahead and pursue the idea of becoming a doctor, because I would always be inside the hospitals like, oh man, that guy could do it. I could do it. Nothing against them, but it was always like, I've always, like, before deciding to become a doctor, I was like immersed into self-improvement literature and content and information, like all these books. I've consumed like 70 to 100 books, And by the way, a little caveat on that I want to mention, it's not about how many books you read, it's how many books you apply to your life. So you could read all the books in the freaking bookshelf, but if you don't apply any of them, then you just read them shits for nothing. It's just entertainment. So, yeah. So you could just read one book and apply it to the rest of your life and you'll be fine. Now, going back to it, I already knew that I was going into something that was going to cause a lot of issues because I was in a third world country, because I was leaving my job behind, because I sold all my belongings. I sold my brand new car. I took my dog and went and moved to the Dominican Republic, taking classes in Spanish while leaving my mom behind. So I already knew that there was going to be issues coming along. And sure enough, they were. Like a month or two into it, I was like stopped by police with a machine gun on my way to biology class at 7 a.m. because a few hours before, there was a police officer that got killed not too far from where I was living. And they were looking for the person who killed the police officer. Man, here I come, going to pre-med, with my biology book, a big frog on the thingamajig. And they freaking like, yo, stop right there. They all talking to me in Spanish. And these guys, they're ready to pull the trigger. They don't give a fuck. There's no cameras. They don't care. This is 2010. And it kind of made me upset. Like, what do you mean I just killed the cop, bro? Look at my damn biology book, bro. Like in Spanish, you know? And yeah, it was along the way, man. It got crazy, bro. It really did. But the funny thing is that the crazy thing about it was not the workload, because the workload and your perception of difficulties based on your self development. When I was telling Josh is gonna have a field day in fucking med school because everyone around him has little to no life experiences compared to him. I mean, he's been deployed. You know what I mean? Like, Josh, bro, you're gonna be blowing them out the frame, you know, based on just your life experiences. So a person's perception of difficulty is based on their level of self-development. So in my case, I came in with a few years of paramedic experience dealing with death and seeing people's soul leave their body in the streets of the South Bronx. So academically, I just knew that all I had to do was continue to push through and I would be able to get through it. And eventually I learned more Spanish. I kept passing all my exams. Yes, they were barely passing. You know what I mean? Like, it was not flying colors, bro. Not, because I would work I would go to med school full time in the Dominican Republic while working as a paramedic in the United States of America. So long weekends and vacations, I spent them in New York City working as a paramedic while going to medical school in the Dominican Republic. So flying back and forth was like something that was normal. And customs, they literally had my passport book filled with stamps, and they probably thought I was a mule or something, but that's basically how I was able to get through that. The hardest part about it, to answer your question, was just being away from my family. One of the hardest things that I had to deal with was the fact that I was too broke to come spend time with my grandfather on his last birthday. And they made this whole big thing about it, like huge party, bro, because it was like something in the air was saying, listen, this was going to be his last birthday. Everyone came in. They even hired like a mariachi band who was like the Mexican band. And they came in and they were like singing along and all this stuff. And I couldn't go because I was too broke. I sacrificed it all on becoming a doctor, and I was financially very fragile, and I was unable to attend this party that my entire family was at, and I missed it. And that was arguably a lot worse than like the workload with school. So what made it so bad was that I came to realize that the most valuable things in life are priceless. You can't really buy the most valuable things in life. And it was really difficult for me to deal with, especially that what made it worse is that I would lean on cigarettes, alcohol, and comfort foods and pornography and prostitution to deal with the stress. So like whenever I would get a bad exam, whenever I had stress, I would just like, I got pictures of me drinking beer on my scrubs. And yeah, I'm unwinding. Nah, I wasn't fucking unwinding. I had an alcohol problem. So, academically, it wasn't difficult. It's just, you got to discipline yourself. You got to go through the motions. And if somebody else could do it, you could do it. The hard part is like controlling your brain and controlling your day-to-day habits and all the curveballs that life inevitably throws your way and how you handle said curveballs.
You were talking about how you struggled with a lot of not necessarily the best lifestyle habits stemming from the stress that you were encountering. So my question from that is, how did you turn it around?
The way I was able to turn around the mistakes I was making, because like, although I had all these negative venting mechanisms, I was still like the type of guy who was gung-ho about getting the work done, and I always got the work done against any odds, and that's why I graduated. So although I was shooting myself in the foot, my determination and resiliency allowed me to get through the process. But it wasn't until about a year ago where I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And what I mean is, my conscience kept telling me what I needed to do. I kept understanding that I had more to provide on this earth. And by me not prioritizing personal development, I was doing myself, God, and the universe a disservice. So I reached the point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I got my life under control. So part of being in control is working out, exercising, and understanding that you only have one body. It's something that you hear all the time, but you have to keep that in the forefront of your mind. And going back to the control, if you're able to control what's within your control, then it's easier to deal with the things that are out of your control. So that being said, if you have a workout regimen, if you have a nutritional regimen, and you have a mindset to be able to blast through all the curveballs that life is going to continue to throw you, then it makes it a lot easier for you to be a med student, for you to be a doctor, for you to be a healthcare provider, or be a fucking janitor. Like, whatever you choose, it's a lot easier to do and excel at it when you prioritize personal development over professional development. So, of course, professional development is something that needs to be considered because that's part of personal development. But there's a problem when people forget about their health and their well-being over a degree, like I did, where I caught gastritis. I never had bouts of eczema and psoriasis. And you'll see when you start doing rheumatology that stress is one of the reasons why people's autoimmune diseases start. And the stress that I went through in med school from flying back and forth and doing all these things triggered eczema. And like I was covered in it from head to toe, like beefy red eczema, psoriasis. So, now I don't have to deal with it as much because it's an autoimmune disease. So now it's like there forever. And it comes and goes as it pleases pretty much. And there's triggers to it, like lack of sleep, the food that you eat, whether or not you're stressed about what's going on in your day-to-day life. But of course, now I know how to deal with these stressors a lot more than I did before, because before I would just lean towards pleasure. So you have these pleasure centers in your head where you're going to get the pleasure either from bacon, egg, and cheese, or a burger with a lot of barbecue sauce, and then follow that down with a beer and some French fries. Or you could have pleasure coming from practicing a martial art. Both cause pleasure. Which source of pleasure are you going to go towards? Are you going to go towards the one that breaks you down or builds you up? So, for people listening, please understand that it's like your brain is like such a magnificent thing, but you got to learn how to control it. It's a terrible thing to waste, but that same motherfucker will have you thinking that you're less than you are, with negative self-talk, with negative habits that are fueled by your brain and your habits. So by all means, be very mindful of what you do and how you do it and the thoughts that you're having, and catch yourself in these negative spirals. Because when I used to see myself get a D at the end of a semester after busting my ass, bro, like literally, like, I did everything I was supposed to do. How the fuck did I fail this class? Because to me, a D was a failure, Mm-hmm. But I still passed the class. But it was just like, it really, really gets to you. Like, there's certain things that you'll see in med school with your grades, your financial status, your body will get to you if you're conscious of that. Looking at yourself naked in the mirror and not being proud of what you see, whether you're a medical student or an attending, you can't shake that off. You know what I mean? Like, you just cannot shake that off. And that's just subconscious human nature to want to look good, feel good, and do good, you know?
So what are some specifics in your own life that you like to do to maintain personal growth and health and all of that?
One of the specifics is find someone who is where you want to be or is on their way to be where you want to be and just fucking attach yourself to them. So if you resonate with David Goggins, for example, then by all means consume all his content, look at all his interviews, take notes of everything that he does and his mindset and everything about him. And then if there's a way to email him or reach out to him, then get to him. Because on the road to life, on the road to success, you have two options. You could take the fucking stairs or you could take the elevator. Stairs is figuring it out on your own, going down the rabbit hole of YouTube videos, trying to figure out what's the best way for you to build muscle and lose fat. Or you could just hire a mentor. So, for example, Josh, you have military experience. If I want to be able to take a gun apart or shoot a gun or a rifle or a shotgun, I don't know shit about it. Like, I've tried it. I emptied a whole clip on a bucket that was like 5 feet away, and I didn't touch it once. You know, like everyone was just laughing at me because I did the whole, you know, like the whole freaking
Kill
I was
shot.
way off. Yeah. I got on the knee and all this shit, bro. Nothing. But of course, if I'm interested in being proficient at it, then my best interest would be to leverage your experience and reach out to you so you could help me. So whatever it is that you're trying to do in life, whether you want to be a lawyer or a doctor, a musician, whatever it is, find someone who is doing exactly what you want to do at a high level and fucking follow them however you can, and just get their guidance, get their help on making it happen for yourself. But then when you do find that person, be careful. Because here's a caveat. I posted a video on this before where I'm like doing a bench press with 100-pound dumbbells on each side. And I'm like lifting it. But then right after that video, I say, you motherfuckers better be careful who you're listening to. Because any motherfucker could pick something up and put it back down. A monkey, a gorilla could do it. So don't be influenced by people that are strong. Don't be influenced by people that got money. Don't be influenced by people who have looks if they're going to be putting poison within that medicine that they think they're giving you. And what I mean is a fitness influencer who says it's okay to drink alcohol, or a person who's talking about money and putting money on a pedestal all while being overweight. Like, you know, these guys that they talk a lot about stocks and investing and all these things with a cigar in their mouth. Like, bro, by all means, man, I got school loans. I'm trying to pay them shits off. My goal is to be financially free. But if it means looking like you, motherfucker, you could keep that money. I don't want it. I've been there. Not wanting to take your fucking shirt off at the beach. What the fuck is that, bro? That's disgusting. Like, confidence is not for sale. You cannot buy it at Target. So even if you're a millionaire on crypto, NFTs, or whatever the fuck, if I'm going to be with a hot girl next to me, knowing that she's only with me for my money, that shit will eat me alive. So that being said, you could keep it. Because it's like, people only respect a man who's been through something. Think about it. Any man who you find to be respectful or commendable, or it's a man who's been on a hero's journey.
You
You
develop
get
a
what I'm
lot more
saying?
self-respect too.
Yeah, Josh, bro, you fucking were in the military, bro. The United States Marine Corps, bro. You're PRing over 300 pounds with a shoulder injury. You're gonna go into med school, and you'll see, bro. You'll see. Poindexters are gonna have no fucking. They're gonna have nothing on you, bro. As long as you continue to leverage your life experiences the right way, as long as you continue to stay physical, as long as you continue to stay stoic. Because if you like, we become who we hang around eventually. So if you start hanging around these low level fucks who think they're all that because they got a 4.0 GPA, then if you hang around them enough, they might have you like, doing what they do unconsciously, which is fine. You got to be social. It doesn't mean that you're better than them or they're better than you. We're all a creation of the Most High. So no one's better than anybody. But as far as life experiences, you're well above them and beyond them. So, that'll make school a lot easier.
And bouncing off of what you just said too, there's a quote that I really like that says, "You're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with." So I tend to be very selective with the people that I spend my time with for that reason.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Definitely. I wholeheartedly agree, bro. But the good thing is with virtual reality, which is the real reality, like tangible reality was a thing of the past, or it has taken the back seat to virtual reality. So with virtual reality, you're able to be with the most high level people because they're uploading content, they're uploading their thoughts on to this. They're creating a digital footprint. And on that note, if your source of money is not online, if you don't have a source of income that's online, you're in essence falling behind. Whoever's watching this, if you're not increasing, like if we're going off the pretense that virtual reality is the real reality, then why is it that you don't have a presence in this reality? That means you're non-existent. So, like as far as life is concerned, God is concerned, we're all the same, whether you have 1 follower or 100 million followers. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about society in 2022, not your value as a human being. We're talking about your value to society. Your value to society has to do, and it's contingent on like your social media presence. So if your social media presence is robust, it makes it a lot easier for you to get admitted into a medical school, because at the end of the day, they're lucky to have you. I mean, you're going to pay them how many hundreds of thousands of dollars to be there? Like a lot of motherfuckers think they're lucky to be able to enter med school. And you are, but at the same time, they're lucky to have you because you're the motherfucker who's going to pay for it. Yeah, when you go to a job and go into residency, they're lucky to have you. You're the one who's going to be doing a doctor's job for like $40,000 to $50,000 a year, or however much it is. So the residency is actually lucky to have you. Hence the fact why they're opening the door for you. They need you, I dare to say, more than you need them. That's why when you graduate med school and you graduate with flying colors and you have good grades, you get whatever residency you want, because they need like people who are efficient. And that's why they have like all these bonuses and sign-on bonuses, and also they have like residencies where they have gyms in them and like built-in childcare and all these things, because they know they need you. The same thing with the military. The military gives you all these perks because they know they need you. So, just always remember, you're the prize. As long as you're the prize. Because if you're just a loser fuck, then you're expendable,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great advice. And I know that you're on a time crunch today, so I don't want to take too much more of your time, but if I can get one more question in here, I would ask, what advice would you have for either pre-meds or med students to be successful throughout this specific journey?
So anybody who's in pre-med or in med school, I did both for 7 years. My advice to you is prioritize yourself and your well-being while simultaneously getting good grades. Because if you surrender during war, you will be killed if you're under the mercy of someone who's ruthless, right? So that's like an extreme example of what I'm trying to tell you here. If you surrender to your health and succumb to all the stresses that you're going through while coursing your pre-med and med school, then what's going to happen? You're going to end up gaining weight. Your organ, let's say your heart is the size of your fist. It's that little organ is made to supply oxygenated blood to every centimeter in your body. Biochemical reactions and all these things are going on inside of your body, and it's made for your optimal weight. It's not made for the overweight version of yourself. Hence the fact why these people are not in homeostasis. Hence the fact why, by not being in homeostasis, you feel lethargic and tired, and you're dependent on dopamine fixes and caffeine to be able to stay the course. Why is it that you wake up? Have you seen Starbucks? Motherfuckers look like crackheads, bro. At 5, 6 a.m., it's an addiction. Trust me, I drink coffee. I know it. So, but leverage caffeine. Leverage being in shape. Because if you're firing on all cylinders, if you're in physiological equilibrium, then it's a lot easier to get good grades. But if you just ate a bag of fucking Doritos and drank a Gatorade before taking an exam, that's slug. That's you're eating like laboratory food. So it's not about the aesthetic benefits of taking care of yourself, although that is welcome, because you want to show up. Let's say, picture yourself, if you're in pre-med, receiving your degree, your doctorate degree for medicine, while having a six-pack, whether you're a male or a female. I don't give a fuck who you are. That shit is appealing. No one says, yo, I want to get on the podium and receive my valedictorian award while being 50 pounds overweight. Fuck you if you're saying that. You're lying. You're a fucking liar. Oh no, I don't want to be that fit. It's not about being fit. I'm not so worried about that. You're lying to yourself, because you're a lazy bitch who's not disciplined enough to make it happen while doing the grades, while going to school, which is fine. I was there. This is why I'm able to identify it and speak about it, because I'm not talking about something that I did not live. I was a lazy bitch. I was the biggest bitch. Like, I was married and had 2 kids in med school, by the way, while doing my clinicals in the hospitals. Clinicals are just basically free labor. And my venting mechanisms, amongst the smoking weed, the drinking alcohol, the eating bullshit, I also used to spaz out on my ex-wife. And there's a reason why she's my ex-wife. Because I was a piece of shit. I would like literally come home like those cats. You know, like those cats that are like, they got their back arched and their hairs are all up. That used to be me. Like, I almost got into 3 fights with 3 different residents while going through my clinicals, because I was so stressed out. And you got to think about it. You don't make life-altering decisions every single day. But what you do is you make little decisions along the way. And all these shits build up and make you who you are. So your little decision of skipping a workout, your little decision of oversleeping, of sleeping in, your little decision, it chips away at your confidence of yourself. And by chipping away confidence of yourself, you're a low-level version of yourself. Like, you're supposed to be vibing high and commanding the room everywhere you go. This is where you belong. This is who you're supposed to be. But it's hard to do it when you just ate processed food at 7-Eleven. Sometimes you got to do it because there's no other choice. But then you got to also think, is it really that there's no other choice? Take extreme accountability. Why didn't you meal prep? Why didn't you pack your food? Or you failed in that exam? Understand that the only things in life that are difficult are the ones you're not ready for. Notice that if you get an exam on the times table, it's going to be a lot easier for you as a pre-med student than it was in second grade. It's because now, as a pre-med student, you're much more equipped because you already know it. So me shooting a gun will be extremely difficult compared to Josh because Josh did it for years. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you're in pre-med and you're having difficulties in your pre-med career and your medical school career, it's because you suck at being you. It's easy to be, my mentor told me this. And by the way, I highly recommend everybody get a mentor. Everybody, but a commendable mentor that's not going to lead you down the wrong path. My mentor told me, you could be good at anything as long as you're good at being you. So you feel my energy on this fucking screen. What do you think is going to happen if they put me in an ER residency or a surgical residency with my level of self-discipline, with my level of accountability, personal accountability? I'm going to be the fucking chief resident, bro. And I'm going to be the best surgeon that they have. That's what's going to happen. Why? Because of who I build myself to be and the mindset that I have. So if you're a pre-med student, a medical student, understand that everything that is difficult for you is usually because you're not prepared for it. And the reason you're not prepared for it is because somewhere along the line, you dropped the ball. And if you don't see it, then find someone that'll help you find it or help you see it. And that's the good thing about having a mentor, where the mentor has been down that path and they know exactly what it is that you do. Because think about it. I remember in genetics class, they said that we're 99.9% identical, except for the 0.1% genetic variability. So that being said, what you think, I already thought it. Or what you feel, I feel. We're all the same. You just have to find someone who already went through that process and have them, like, you know, talk you through the process or help you or guide you through the process. And what better person to do that with than a person who went through it and is also in shape? You know what I mean? Like, is also like financially free. Like, my mentor is a multi-millionaire. So what do you think is going to happen? Like you said, Josh, you become the 5 people that you hang around with. What do you think is going to happen to me if I'm virtually hanging around with a millionaire?
It's only a matter of time.
I mean, it's just, and it's not about the money. But I would love to say, fuck you, Sally Mae, you fucking bitch. You know what I mean? I mean, thank you, first of all, because without your help, I would not have become a doctor. I needed the financial assistance. But I say fuck you every month because of the interest rates. You know what I mean? So, but it's a necessary evil, because it's like being born and raised on welfare. I was not going to be able to pay for med school, you know? But yeah, man, just to sum up, man, people that are in med school or in pre-med understand that if it's been done, it could be done. You got this, you could do this. If you made it this far, if you know how to fucking tie your shoes, you're able to get through it, because it's all a challenge of who could remember the most.
Yeah.
So fuck your GPA. What really matters, although the GPA is important because of whatever the fuck reasons, you can have like a list of reasons why it's important. But what's most important when providing patient care, take it from me, I'm a South Bronx, New York City paramedic with nearly 20 years of experience. What matters is your patient advocacy. What matters is your interpersonal skills. What matters is your morals. Way more than your GPA. Some of the worst fucking people I ever met had a 4.0 GPA. Backstabbing motherfuckers. All they cared about was their personal gains and making themselves look good. They didn't give a fuck about the patient. And some of the best people that I've met were the ones that were going through adversity to graduate med school, whether it was financial or academically. But if you have a silver spoon in your mouth and you're doing it because of the accolades or how cool it sounds, just fucking get on TikTok and start like petting some doves, and maybe you might go viral and you don't have to fucking go to med school.
Yeah.
fucking tired of seeing healthcare providers who just don't care. So if you are going through adversity, understand that you got this. Shit, I'm a high school dropout. I made it happen. So if I could do it, you could do it.
Yeah. It's a powerful message, man. And yeah, I 100% agree. Everybody out there can do it. I never expected that I would be here today where I am, at least heading into med school in the fall, but made it happen. And I have full confidence that I'll make it through successfully. And by picking a mentor also, like you're saying, that's very important. So I'm reaching out to people that have already gone through the process, like yourself and like a couple other guys that I've collabed with, doctors that are well established in the field. And then also, by the way, if anybody wants to reach out to me, if I can help in any way, please feel free to do so. I think Dr. Ray here is happy to do that as well. Do you want to tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, man. Everywhere you go, just type in NYC Streets MD, or you could Google me, Reynolds Kairus. Reynolds, just like the aluminum foil. You know what I mean? And my website is theemsessentials.com. Just reach out to me, whatever questions you may have. I'll pay my blessings forward, and anything I can do to help, I'm here for you.
Love it. Yeah, so be sure everyone to subscribe and follow him on his YouTube channel, Instagram, all the social medias. He puts a lot of great content out there. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this today. It was a great conversation, and I really enjoyed hearing more about your story.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Likewise.
Yeah.
Let's do this again.
Yes, please. Let's do it.
All right, cool. Thank you, man.
Yeah. Take care.
All right, peace.
That wraps up today's conversation. If you enjoyed this one, you may also enjoy these other conversations with a cardiac ICU nurse and an incoming surgical resident. Check them out and be sure to subscribe for future videos.